The downtown loft is a modern one-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom unit located at 456 Main Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60601. The rent is $2,400 per month. It features a rooftop deck, a fitness center, exposed brick walls, and beautiful city views. Excellent. Your viewing is confirmed for the downtown loft at 456 Main Avenue, Chicago, Illinois.
I'm Anthony, and today I'm going to do a speed run of our property management AI voice agent. By the end of the video, you'll know exactly how to fetch property listings, also how to set up AI voice agents, and build editing workflows. So let's go ahead and get started. Property management officers usually get two types of calls mostly. The first one is going to be when somebody calls in trying to express their interest in looking at a property. The second type is going to be somebody basically saying that, well, we need some maintenance on this property. Now, the first one that we're going to focus on today is going to be the first type, which is when somebody expresses interest in a property. So what happens when somebody does exactly that? Well, we're going to need to create an AI voice agent that basically does one, it's going to get the details about the property, things like the address, the amenities, things like that. And then next, it's going to check the availability inside a calendar, usually a Google Calendar. And after that, we're going to try to book an appointment so that we can basically have a time when you guys can meet and basically talk about potentially getting it leased out. So in order to do that, we're going to have to prepare a couple of things. First of all, we're going to prepare a document that contains all of our property listings. This is basically going to say, well, here's the address, this is how much it costs, does it allow pets, things like that. After that, we're going to need to build an AI voice agent using VAPI. Finally, we're going to build an automated workflow using end-to-end to make sure everything connects all together. So let's dive right in and set up our property listings document. Go ahead and go over to Google Drive, and then we're going to hit new and basically create a new folder. I've named my folder property management. Now that I have created a folder called property management, all I need to do is go ahead and create a new Google document inside of this folder. And inside of this folder, I'm going to basically insert the information about my property listings. I have the information about my properties in this file, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up and then hit Control A, Control C to copy. Go back over here and hit Control C to paste it all. Now, as you can see, all I've done is basically imported information about 3 different properties. And each of the 3 different properties basically says information about the bedroom, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what the rent is, things like that. And the awesome thing about this is it doesn't have to be structured information at all. As long as you have the information there and it kind of makes sense, it's going to work. So now that that's done, let's just go ahead and make sure that it has a name. It's going to just be called Oak Ridge Property Management Available Listings. Next, we can set up our AI voice agent. Go to VAPI.ai and sign up if you haven't already. Once you've signed up, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. We're going to be interested in the assistants, the tools, and the phone numbers tab. Let's go ahead and get started with creating our assistant. Today, we're just going to call it property management. Create the assistant. Then we're going to see a screen that looks like this. We're just going to choose our model, our AI model. It's going to be called GPT 4.1 Mini. That's just the one that I found works the best. The first message mode is, are we going to wait for the assistant to speak first, or are we going to wait for the user to speak first? We want the assistant to speak first. So we're going to say assistant speaks first with model generated message. That means that we don't need to input anything for the first message because we're just going to include it in the system prompt. And the system prompt is basically the instructions that the AI agent uses in order to carry out its function. Usually for something like this, we're going to give it something like a role, like you are a receptionist, okay? And it does take a while to test that, so I'm going to basically fill this out using information that I've already written. The file is going to be called appointment setter property management prompt.json. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Control A, Control C to copy, Control A, Control V to paste. Go ahead and publish every once in a while. Just make sure you save your progress. Now, just to walk through this really quickly, at the beginning, I'm going to say basically a configuration section. This is where we're going to enter in information such as your business name, your time zone, meeting duration, so on and so forth. After you've done that, it's very important to make sure you mention a conversational playbook. This is make sure that it stays on track in order to book that appointment, because our goal and basically our success criteria is booking that appointment. So basically everything that we say in here is going to eventually lead them to that outcome. Next thing to do is basically change our temperature. The temperature that I found works the best is 0.4. And by the way, temperature just means how crazy or variable the responses are. The lower it is, the less variable they will be. The higher it is, the more crazy it's going to be. I found that 0.4 typically works the best. Next, we can go ahead and change the voice configuration. There's thousands to choose from, so I'm just going to leave it at the default for now. The next thing that we're really interested in, I'm going to hit publish before it basically moves away, but we're going to create some tools in order to give it to our AI agent. And these tools are important to tell it exactly what it needs to do. In fact, I've already created them here, but I'm going to show you exactly how to do that from scratch. So go ahead and click Create New Tool. And then we're going to create Custom Tool, Create Tool, Custom Tool. Now, the first one that we're going to make is something called getPropertyDetails. Now, as you can probably imagine, we're going to, in this tool, basically teach our AI agent how to get the property details from our documents. So let's go ahead and skip all this information, doesn't mean anything, and go right to the parameters. The parameter is basically saying to the AI agent, this is what the tool is, and this is exactly how to use it. It's like, imagine that you're basically giving somebody a hammer and you're being, okay, well, this is a hammer, and you basically smash stuff with it. So in order to basically write this the quickest way is click on Visual Editor here. And I'm going to paste in the tool code that I've already written. And that file is going to be called getPropertyDetails.json. So go ahead and click that. Control A, Control C, Control V to paste, apply. And you can always just uncheck this to see what it's actually asking for. It's asking for a query. So basically when the caller asks a question, the AI agent is going to collect a query, which is going to send to the backend, the end-to-end workflow. And that's basically going to allow it to query our database in order to find the information about the property. So go ahead and click save, just make sure it saves. And you're basically just going to repeat that process for booking the appointment and for checking the availability. So now that we've created all of our tools, go ahead and go back to the Assistance tab and scroll down to the Tools tab. And we're basically going to select all of the tools in order to give it to our AI agent. So once you've done that, go ahead and hit Publish to save. Now that we've done that, the last thing to do is basically create a phone number and give it to that AI agent. So click on Create or Phone Numbers and then click on Create Phone Number. You can choose any area code that you want and you can get up to 10 for free. So I'm just going to choose any random one and just use that. So now that we've basically claimed our free phone number, go ahead and scroll down to the inbound settings here. And this is where we're basically going to say, well, when somebody calls this number, I want blank assistant to use it. So I'm going to say that I want the property management assistant to answer the phone when somebody calls this number. So now that you've selected your assistant, go ahead and scroll back up and hit save. Now that our AI voice agent is done, all we need to do is finish the automated workflow. So go ahead and go to a website called N8N, sign up if you haven't already. Once you have signed up, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. This is going to be your empty canvas where you can basically hit the plus and add all your nodes. Now it's going to take a while to actually do this, so I'm going to build it using information that I already have. So go ahead and click on these three dots, click on Import from File. Then I'm going to select the appointment setter property management.json file. And as you can see, it automatically imports in just 3 seconds. It's pretty crazy, right? So basically the way this works is it's going to start with a webhook node. What the webhook node basically does is it accepts data from our VAPI AI voice agent and then processes it based on, basically in this case, processes it based on the name of the tool. So basically it's going to go from here to here and to here. And this is what we're interested in, is we can actually see that it branches out into 3 different ways. The first way is actually the check availability way. And basically, if the name of the tool call is check availability, then we're going to route over here and we're going to get the calendar events from our Google Calendar. And we're going to do some math to basically see what the available slots are. And we're going to respond to the AI voice agent saying, well, yeah, we have a slot on Friday at 9 a.m. and it's also 9:30 a.m., 10 a.m., whatever it might be. And that's basically going to allow the caller to hear what available slots that we have. And then we also have a second tool called bookAppointment. And this is going to allow us to book the appointment into the Google Calendar. Once it's done that, it's going to say, booking has been successful. And that's perfect. Finally, we have a tool called getPropertyDetails. This is going to allow the agent to basically route over here into another AI agent, which is going to be responsible for basically using its AI in order to query the Supabase vector store, which is the database that we talked about earlier. And it's going to retrieve the documents and then respond to the AI voice agent saying, well, this is the information that the client asked for, basically. So what we need to do here is basically we need to set up the Google Calendar. So let's go ahead and set up the Google Calendar. We're going to hit from the list and we're going to select our calendar that we're going to check the availability from. So that's my calendar. Then we're going to click on the book appointment in Google Calendar node. And then we're going to choose it from the list. And then I'm just going to book it into my demo calendar so it doesn't ruin with the rest of my stuff. But you would just probably choose the same exact calendar, okay? Perfecto. And then we're going to actually do the configuration node. I kind of skipped over this, but really all you need to do is enter in your time zone and also your hours of operation. So if you start work at 9 a.m. and you end work at, I think, 5 p.m., that's absolutely amazing. And then meeting duration, things like that. All right, so I'm just gonna walk through this real quick as well and show you what it looks like. But basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna need to create a table in Supabase called knowledge base. And then we're going to have to upload the data into that knowledge base so that it's basically chunked into smaller pieces, makes it really easy and fast in order to retrieve that information. And also we're going to find that information using a function called the match documents function. So let's go ahead and just make sure everything's set up properly. Now I like to use 2.5 Flash because it does give it some time to think. So that make sure that it gets the actual query correct. And also, like I said earlier, the sampling temperature, I like to use 0 0.4. That just seems to work the best. All right, so I believe this is all completed. So this is basically just more saying your table and also saying the function name. So now it is time to basically go to supabase.com in order to set up our database. So go ahead and hover to supabase.com. And this is where we're going to create the table and basically use that as our knowledge base. So first thing we're going to need to do is go to SQL editor, and we're going to need to paste in some code in order to basically create the knowledge base table and also the match documents function. So the name of that file is going to be called Supabase SQL editor code.json. So go ahead and open that up, Control A, Control C, go over here, Control A, Control V, and hit run. Run this query. As you can see, basically what this does is saying it's creating the table if it does not exist, and it's creating or replacing the function match documents if it exists. So basically, it's like a foolproof way just to make sure that this happens. All right, success, no rows returned. That is perfect. Now, if we go back to table editor, we should now see that there's a table called knowledge base that was just created. So go ahead and click on this. And we can click on this just to make sure that it enables some security, just makes it more secure. But basically, once you've done that, it's going to have some information about the content, the metadata, and the vector. So the point now is that we need to input the information from our Google Doc over here over into our vector database, make sure that it's all chunked into little pieces. So in order to do that, we're going to use another NNN workflow. Go back to NNN. This time we're going to want a blank workflow. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it blank. All right, so from here, we're going to have to import another workflow. And this one is going to be called update Google Drive for rag.json. All right, and the way that this one works is basically it's going to use a Google Drive node in order to basically delete any old ones if they were existing. In this case, there aren't any old ones, so it's not going to delete anything. It's going to download the file. It's going to extract the information and then basically load it up into Supabase. Now it does say that there's an X here, so I'm going to go fix it real quick. But basically, you're just going to need to select your credential, and then this is the correct model, so that looks correct. And then you would just hit save if you want it to basically work all the time. Also turn it to active because it basically polls every single minute to see if there's like an update or like a new file created in order to input that into your database. So just to make sure that it works, I'm going to hit execute workflow one time. Let's make it nice and real quick. So once it works, I'm going to go back into Supabase and see if it gets updated. As you can see, automatically, it just automatically updates. So that's absolutely perfect. Now, actually, the problem is that it looks like it defaulted to a different Google file. So I'm going to actually go and debug that in real time for you. But basically the way this works, I'm going to turn this off real quick. Now the reason that why that probably worked is because that probably didn't work is because the Google Drive node is probably looking at the wrong folder, right? So I'm going to click on this. And as you can see, yeah, so it's obviously looking at a different folder. It's supposed to be called property management is what we want. So I'm going to change it to your property management for each of these two. Perfect. This one, I don't think I need to change it. Yeah, that looks good. So go ahead and execute workflow one more time. And then if we go back over here, we should see that it automatically gets it chunked in. So let's go ahead and look for that. I'm going to hit the refresh button, see if it gets loaded up. And there we go. And it just created a third chunk called Oak Ridge Property Management. And that is absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete these because that was created improperly. So that's fine. So once I've done that, we're left with our chunk that is basically going to be where it's going to get that information from. So now let's go ahead and recap exactly what we did today. First of all, we went over to Google Drive. We created a folder, called it Property Management. After that, we created a Google document and we named it Oak Ridge Property Management Available Listings. In this document, we had 3 different properties. And you can have as many as you want. You can have thousands if you want, really. But basically, enter in some information about your properties. After that, we went ahead and go to VAPI to set up our AI voice agent. We did that by basically creating our assistant, putting in the assistant prompt, things like that, going to tools to create our tools, and then pasting in our JSON in order to get that basically loaded up. Then we went back to the assistants and went to the tools section to basically give it to the tools, give it the tools that we just created. Then we set up the phone numbers by basically claiming a free phone number and then going down here and assigning it. It looks like it's, okay, so it's going to be this one that's the correct one, right? So this is going to be the correct phone number. I'll just delete this, make it a little bit cleaner. And then actually now that what we need to do is we need to connect VAPI with Anyden. Now the way that we do that is by using a webhook. So go ahead and go back to Anyden. And this is what I was saying with a webhook earlier. It's just a URL that connects two different programs together. So go ahead and double click on this one. Click on production URL. And this is going to be the URL where basically they're basically sending data. Now the way I like to think about it is like a tunnel, right? Let's say you have one house and then you have a tunnel leading to somebody else's house, right? And so this tunnel in this case is going to be Anyden, and the house is going to be Anyden, and then the other house is going to be VAPI, and the tunnel is going to be this URL. So we can go ahead and click on this a bunch of times, make sure it's copied, and then go back to, I believe it's VAPI, and click on assistance, and then scroll all the way down to the messaging section. Then we're going to paste it for the server URL. Perfect. And then scroll down a little bit to the server messages section. Click on this. Now we're just going to click select all twice to just uncheck everything, because all that we want to basically follow and track is going to be called the tool calls. We don't need all the other information. So that looks perfect. Then we're just going to hit publish, make sure that everything saves. So I just went over the entire setup with you. The last thing that there's to do is basically go to the phone number section and then call this phone number in order to show the demo.
Hi, thank you for calling Oak Ridge Property Management. This is Casey. I can answer questions about our available properties and help you schedule a viewing. What property are you calling about today?
Hey, Casey, I just saw your guys' property on the downtown loft. Could you tell me more about that one, please?
Great choice. The downtown loft is a modern one-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom unit located at 456 Main Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60601. The rent is $2,400 per month. It features a rooftop deck, a fitness center, exposed brick walls, and beautiful city views. However, it has a strict no pets policy. Do you have any questions about it?
No, that sounds absolutely amazing. When can I get started?
Wonderful. Would you like to schedule a time to see the downtown loft in person?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. But to get that scheduled, what day would be best for you?
Sure. Can we go ahead and do it on Saturday of this week?
Okay, I have a few times available for a tour on Saturday, September 6th, 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m., 10 a.m., and 10:30 a.m. Would any of those work for you?
Sure, let's go ahead and get it done at 10 a.m.
Perfect. And what is your full name for the viewing, please?
Yeah, my name is Anthony Ton, Ton.
Okay, Anthony Tan. Just to confirm, I have you down for a property viewing at 456 Main Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60601 on Saturday, September 6th at 10 a.m. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Excellent. Your viewing is confirmed for the downtown loft at 456 Main Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60601 on Saturday, September 6th at 10 a.m. We sent a confirmation to your number. We look forward to seeing you.
All right, thank you very much. That is absolutely perfect. As you can see, it just booked that property viewing for me at the right address. And it had my phone number, and it even has the call ID that in case you want to check back in VAPI, you can go ahead and basically listen back to that recording. So guys, if you want to get those documents and basically import it into your files, basically in 3 minutes, go ahead and go to my Skool community, click on templates, and I'm going to upload a post basically and upload all these files. Go ahead and hit download, and you can basically upload it exactly like I did in just a couple minutes. And of course, if you haven't already, go ahead and go to my Skool community and start on my free VAPI and Anyden full 3-hour course. That's basically going to give you more details. Like let's say that, for example, you want to send like SMS confirmation or maybe like an email confirmation. You can learn how to do things like that in this course. All right. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.